Well, there's action, there's laughter, and there's love. Really, everything you want in a movie.
And a great reminder of what we need more of in this world today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about courage and heroism.
Good job.
Thank you. In this episode of the Finding Good podcast with Kevin and Milton.
All right, here we are, another episode of the Finding Good podcast. We're talking Fall Guy today. Yes. Another great movie from this guy,
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
And Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Two great characters. And right off the bat, thanks for joining us. If you're kind of new to the podcast, what Milton and I do is we go see movies, which is really the only excuse for why we do this.
Right.
And then we pull out some just themes and things that we want to talk about that we feel are kind of good.
Yeah.
And so that's what this is. So hopefully you can kind of join us in this discussion today about Fall Guy.
Yeah. Just fun, another fun movie. You know, last year we had Ryan Gosling and Barbie.
Yes.
We had Emily Blunt and Oppenheimer, and now they're coming together for this movie. For me, it was perfection.
It was funny because didn't those two movies come out like exactly the same?
Barbieheimer, Barbie, or what?
I didn't see Oppenheimer, but I did see Barbie.
Yeah,
and so I didn't know that Emily Blunt was in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, did a great job. She was nominated for an Academy Award. Definitely, this is a departure from that role. That was like a super serious, like morose and just tough role.
What word did you just say?
Morose.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, look at us.
Okay.
It's okay. You have your iPad there. Go ahead. You're connected to Wi-Fi.
Sounds like a Crayola color.
I want to know something because, you know, we've been buds for a while. I consider you a colleague and a friend.
Thank you.
But we have some years between us.
Not a lot, but a few.
A few.
Yes.
Did you know that this was a remake of a television show like from back in the 80s?
No, I thought an entire series. I thought you had mentioned a movie. So it's an entire series.
It was called The Fall Guy.
Okay.
It was about a stuntman who would go around like solving crimes.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So did you ever check out the $6 Million Man?
I know of that.
Okay. So that same actor, Lee Majors, was the Fall Guy, and he actually makes an appearance in this movie.
Oh wow.
Does a little cameo. It's pretty good.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Because this movie was a little I felt far-fetched. Like, where did they get this from? It was all over the place.
It was all over the place.
Probably because they were combining like 80 episodes into a tour.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
It was good. I enjoyed it a lot. And I appreciated kind of just the whole meta of the whole movie. I mean, this is a movie about making movies. Right. With stunt guys who use stunt doubles, probably playing the actors of action.
You confused yourself saying the sentence.
But I loved it.
Yeah. Well, I'm starting to appreciate so much more stunt work in film, and I don't know. And one
because of this movie.
Well, not before this, because I think it's wonderful when you see. So here's how I got to this point. The stunt man for Keanu Reeves in The Matrix.
Okay.
The guy who played Keanu's double. Okay. He has become a movie director, and he's the guy directing all the John Wick movies.
Oh, wow.
That's why those movies are so heavy into stunt work as well.
Sure.
So in following his career and because I love The Matrix, I thought one of my favorite movies of all time. It's top 5 for me. Following this guy's career, and how now he's putting his craft into his movie making as well, and featuring what great work these people do. I'm thinking the Academy needs to step up and give an Oscar for stunt work, I believe.
That doesn't exist?
It does not.
No, I seriously did not know this. There's no Oscar
award for stunt. Yeah.
Wow.
They just introduced for casting.
Okay.
There's an Oscar now for casting.
Okay.
They got to step up and they got to do this because, I mean, you see what they do in this movie.
Right.
And of course, the main character is a stuntman who goes through his own.
How wild is it, though, like for these actors to to have someone that basically looks like them, hair and everything. They style all the hair and they do all the clothes, and then they jump off a bridge. Like, that's got to be pretty wild to watch.
Wouldn't you like to have a stuntman in your life? Like someone who looks like you, who can come up in the dangerous times, like here at Project, and just kind of step in for you and like
I don't need
take all the blows?
I don't need it. I can do it all myself.
Oh, wow.
You know this about me. I'm incredibly courageous. I do lots of manly things around things like explosions and jumping off tall buildings. I do all those things.
I haven't seen it. You do one of those things. Not once. Not one time.
Well, we don't hang out enough.
Well, okay. When are you doing these things, Kevin?
Yeah, there's not just we don't need to talk about it. We can just keep going.
Anyway,
yeah.
But what I love, the themes or the good thing we're pulling out of this is just how much we're seeing in this movie, the heroism, the courage of this main character, Ryan Gosling's character, trying to solve the problems, trying to win the day, right? Be the hero.
Yeah.
And I'm finding as I'm experiencing the world and seeing what's happening around, there's such a need for this kind of attitude and kind of gumption in the world by people to be heroic, to be courageous. And I don't know if it's something we're slowly losing or we've lost, but hopefully I would love to see it kind of recaptured and reclaimed by humanity.
Well, it's a big joke in our house.
Okay. What's the joke?
Well, I mean, we have one person in our house that owns a handgun.
Okay.
It's not me. We have one person in our house who sleeps with a bat by the bed. It's not me.
I know the people in your family, and right now my imagination is going pretty wild.
Yeah.
If it's not you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't have to go to the details of that, but
well, my wife and I always laugh. It's like, okay, if our house gets broken into, we both know who's going after the guy with the bat, right? Okay. And I want to think like it would be me,
right?
And I want to be that person, but I'm also just like super chicken. So I want to get to this more. I want to get more courageous.
The fall guy for your family.
Yes, but I'm never in these situations. Like I wasn't around any of this. So
okay, so you're not heroic. I wouldn't say I'm heroic either necessarily. Okay. I would hope that when the opportunity provides to be heroic, I'll step in, right?
Sure.
And I'll take care of my family and whoever needs it. But who have been the heroes in your life? Who's demonstrated heroism to you?
You know, I think most recently, it was, and I'll just say it, like when I watched the assassination attempt on Trump.
Okay.
And I saw all the Secret Service. I mean, because that happened like live on TV, and we've seen all the Secret Service just immediately just like dive right in front of him.
Yeah.
And surround him, and outside of all the stupid political commentary around it, I cried. I'm like, there are heroes.
Yeah.
To just someone who just immediately goes and puts their life in position, and then you heard the story of the father who was actually shot at that event because he immediately covered his family.
Yeah.
That is the type of person that I hope I will be in that moment, right?
Yeah.
The person that's just like totally selfless to see other people around you and go in. So like anytime you talk about military or people who have sacrificed their own safety,
their bodies
for others,
right?
Like that, like military, I still will go up to a person in military and just thank them.
Sure.
Just because I think that is the definition.
Yeah, for sure. I just met a couple. No, I didn't meet them. I saw them caught up with a couple that I had married last year, and they just out of the blue. Nobody knew this. They went to the training to become. I don't know what their official term is, but they are firefighters in the forestry service.
Okay. I think they're just called firefighters.
Is that what they are?
I don't know.
Well, they don't go to homes or anything. They go in the middle of the woods where the fires are happening.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Their job is to fight those fires.
Okay.
It's a federal job. Okay, so, and they're a young couple. They're in their early 20s, and they just decided, like, we're going to do this. They went to the training. They just came back from 2 weeks of fighting fires in Montana.
Wow.
And they're showing us pictures, and you're talking about like walls of fire, like whole forests just ignited, and there they are with hoses and shovels and helicopters dumping chemicals and 14-hour shifts for 14 days straight.
Wow.
Right? And then they get 2 days off, and then they're back at it. And I'm like, that's heroic right there. Putting your life in danger when you're young, you have your whole future ahead of you, and you're just like, I have to do this because all these people in this town, like 10 miles down the road, if we don't do something about this, they're going to lose everything they have. And you know, that biblical concept of the greatest love you can show is when you give your life for another. I think that's the ultimate definition of heroism, right? We see it, of course, in Jesus. Sure. But to be willing to sacrifice it all for those who need it, loved ones, and it's not just life, right? It could be limbs, it could be money, whatever.
Well, I think it can be emotionally too. I don't think it needs to be danger and explosions or covering yourself with bullets flying through the air or fire. I think it can be through. I've had a lot of heroes in my life who are just spiritual leaders. Who approach everyday drama with a calmness and a clarity and a mental capacity to see the other person's hurt. And to come into those situations with just a very, just mature mindset. To me, that's heroic. I have 2 friends in my life right now who are going through just tremendous chaos. And both of them, I just told my friend this the other day. I'm like, man, listening to you, I don't think I would have the composure that you have. I would just want to just burn everything down and rage and get justice and all of these things. And instead, he's showing patience. You know, he's showing grace and love. And I think that's, I told him, I think that's heroic what you're doing.
I also see heroism in people who, like say in an organization, things are not going well and like everything seems to be falling apart. And yet you have that one person who's just the steady and says like, hey guys, we can get through this, and can inspire people to be like, hey, let's get organized. Let's get back to what we're good at. Let's persevere through this. Let me lead the way. Let me lead the charge. They're not necessarily the leader, but in those moments they lead through some of what you call their peace, their wisdom, and I've had lots of people like that, especially in my church experiences where things aren't going well in church, and they're just like, okay, let's sit down, let's talk. That to me is heroic, because if it was me, like you said, like, never mind, start looking for another job. This is going really bad. I don't want to be here anymore. And then people just step up and they deliver when you need it. To me. And that's like the superhero mantra, right? Like in that moment when all is going to be lost, here comes Clark Kent as Superman, and boom.
You're in awe of what they're doing. And you're inspired to do what they do.
I
mean, you leave a superhero movie.
Ready to
like, let's go.
Let's do this.
You know?
Or a boxing movie, or it's like,
it's more Fast and the Furious. Like when I leave a fast movie,
you just want to drive.
I'm just going 65 down Chinden. It's like, settle down.
Chinden is a road in
it's a road in
Idaho.
In our area.
For those who are watching from other places.
Everybody has a Chinden. The Chinden, you know the Chinden.
But the key here, I think, because you can't be a hero without courage. You have to have courage if you're going to be heroic, because there's no scaredy cat heroes.
Sure. Right.
No, there's not. You're running. No hero runs away.
Throw a paper clip at the bad guy.
But courage it's not something I think we're naturally born with. It's maybe we are. I don't know. Is it something you can build up? I don't know. I will hope so.
Like you're asking, is it one of those like embedded in our core? I have to believe it is, because I believe we are created in God's image. And so I think it's actually part of our core that can be dismantled, discouraged, and chiseled out.
So maybe a better way to put it is, courage is in you. You just have to learn to tap it.
Sure.
get access to it. And,
I believe that.
Let it become unleashed inside of you.
Well, I mean, notice how I started this. My inner voice, and we've done an episode on Inside Out too, where we talked about a lot of the inner voice. So go check that out if you're watching this now. But my inner voice, a core default is I'm not courageous. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
And I led with that genuinely. So I have to find ways to go, okay, no, that's not me. I can be that.
Yeah. One thing I'm because this is something that's important to me, because I do want to deliver when the stakes are high. Right? And that's what heroes do. So I want to be courageous. And one thing that I heard, which was against what I thought courage was, because I always thought that courage was the absence of fear. There's no fear, so I can be courageous. And I heard somebody say something that really made me realize I was wrong about that. Courage is what you do in spite of the fear. It's when there is fear, but yet you can push through and you can deliver facing fear. And I was like, that makes more sense to me, because I think fear is also a part of us, right? And you can't just eliminate it, but can you maybe ignore is not the word, but maybe recognize it, but say, I don't care.
Right.
I'm going for it anyway.
Yeah. A good test is if you can sit in the exit row on an airplane.
Oh, that's easy.
But then they come up to you and they go, yeah, but you got to lead everybody out the door. Like if the door pops off, you got to be there. So if you're sitting there out of selfish reasons because you get more leg room, would you actually, not that I've done that, would you actually be able to sit there and help everybody off the plane in the middle of the ocean, or are you jumping out of that plane first? Getting your
see a sucker
in your spot.
Wow. Now you're putting up a mirror.
That's right.
So I think maybe we can dive into a little, like, how do you tap into the courage that does already exist, assuming that we're right about that. And I think we are.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing is you have to be available. You have to be in the places where courage is necessary. If you're always running away, if you're always backing away, if you're always locking yourself in your house because the world is too scary,
right,
you're never going to get the opportunity to even see if you can access that courage.
Yeah, that's good.
So when times are tough, jump in there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't think, you don't have to put parachutes on and look for explosions necessarily, but everyone has things in life that can be scary, and you gotta be there.
So you're saying, like, find safe ways to be courageous, where you don't have to.
It doesn't even have to be safe. It just has to be
there.
You can't do it if you're not there.
Put a bat by the side of my bed.
If you have to, yeah. Or, okay, we're both married. Okay, tell me if this isn't true. Hard conversations between loved ones are very scary.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's an opportunity for courage to step in and say, honey, we got to talk about something. That is scary.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what the reaction is going to be.
Right.
You don't know if you're going to get blamed for the situation. Maybe you have to say you're sorry. Maybe you have to ask for someone to say they're sorry.
That's good.
All of that is hard. And you can be like, you can either do that, or you can be like,
yeah,
I'm going to the movies.
But you know what I like about that, Milton, is because I think for whatever reason, and it's probably because of movies like this, like, courage is so tied to just these massive life and death moments.
Yeah.
Where what I like what you're saying is, like, courage can be as easy as having a conversation, as approaching your friend.
Yeah.
As talking to your kids about something that's really super scary. You're kind of on the fringe a little bit.
Right. Right.
Of self-regulating, things in your life, or creating boundaries that are needed. I mean, just these little moments are courageous. And I don't use that word with those moments enough. And I think if I were able to do that, maybe I could start changing that dialogue internally a little bit, that I am a courageous guy, that I can step into these bigger moments because I'm already doing it throughout the day. I'm just not recognizing.
Yeah. Where I see courage demonstrated is at church. And here's how. I always try to create the church environment where people who have struggled with church in the past can come and feel welcome. So that means that if you've been hurt by church and you decide to go back and try it again, you are demonstrating courage. Because I'm going back to a place that hurt me before, called church. And I try to let my leaders know, hey, by the way, anyone who shows up here is demonstrating a huge, maybe even miraculous level of courage. Don't mess with them. Don't screw it up.
Right.
Because this was not easy for them to do. Just the fact that they got in the car, thought about going to church, turned the car on, drove to the church, then actually stepped out of the car and walked through the front door.
Yeah.
That was like 5 or 6 moments of courage demonstrated. And then you come and you say something stupid and you just ruin the whole thing.
Wow. Yeah.
You just rob that person of the blessing of showing that, or helping them realize their courage paid off. And now they're willing to take another step of courage, which might be give my life to the Lord, right? Or invest in this community of people, instead of like, oh, that was stupid, that hurt, I'm not doing that again, go back home and never be courageous again. So courage can be demonstrated. It's at work.
Sure.
Well, you got to talk to your boss. I mean, we've talked about moments to do that.
Absolutely.
In different places. That's
It's hard.
But
I've also seen a lot of fruit out of that as well. I mean, I've gone into meetings where I've sought prayer and counsel before the meeting. So it's like, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And have actually come out of that with a incredible result and just feeling loved and seen and heard. But going into that meeting was a lot of fear and anxiety and just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be it. So
you also need flexibility if you're going to be courageous, because your first attempt might not go so well.
All right.
You gotta figure out, okay, that didn't work. Do I give up? No, now maybe you need more courage now, but maybe there's a better way of doing it. I mean, you saw in this movie, like he has to go to one place and try to get something. It doesn't work out. Then he's got to go beat up the other guys, and then he's got to jump on the car, and the door hood breaks off, and he's like surfing now and behind it, and but it's a weird way of demonstrating it, but it's the truth. Like your first idea of what your courage is going to become and what it's going to deliver probably isn't the real picture of what's going to happen. So then, how do you then pivot and adjust and so that you can have the success you're looking for?
Yeah. I mean, you're using the word flexible. I would use kind of a similar idea, but be teachable.
Oh, teachable.
And I think if you go into
better.
If you go into those situations though, where you're like, okay, what can I learn from this before it actually happens? You have adjusted your spirit to receive things when everything goes wrong. So flexible, teachable, open,
right?
Those kind of things.
And then accountable. Sorry, the A word. We said the A word. But it's so true. The need to have people in your life who can speak to what you're going through and can say like, hey, yeah, that didn't go so good, but there's more in you. You can do this. Like, let's work at it together. Let's, you and I have done it with emails or conversations like, hey, let's kind of like work this email through beforehand so that it's right and it's done well. And because it's hard to have hard conversations at work or wherever. We've done that with our own relationships too. Like, hey, I'm thinking of having this conversation with my kids. What should I say? What should I do? Kind of thing. And someone there to kind of be that sounding board, and then later to come back and be like, did you do it?
Yeah, right.
It's good to take that step.
It's good to be accountable, and then I hear that as that's what people need too from me. Like, I need to show it for them and to call them into courageous moments, to say you can actually do this, and you can be this person, you can do this thing,
Yeah.
Well, I need to be told that. I need to hear that.
Sure.
Right? And so if I need it, you need it, I can verbalize that as much as I can receive it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, this is kind of becoming more of a passion for me. And the reason why is because, look, I'm getting old. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on this earth, hopefully for a while, but
yeah, there's a lot of movies coming.
That's true.
Yeah, we get
yeah, that's true. A lot of good ones. But I see a world for my kids.
Yes.
Right? And I want them to first be these kinds of people, and I want them to be surrounded by these kinds of people. And I want a world that's full of powerful people who are willing to step out courageously and do good things because it's what we do, right?
Right.
That's the kind of people we are. So I'm going to be beating this drum because I have 2 daughters. I hope they find wonderful partners who are going to love them. And like I was telling my one daughter, I was like, I want you to date a guy who, if you guys get mugged in an alley, he's not the first victim. Right?
Yeah, sorry.
I want him to protect you. I want him to
He's
be
the
your
first
hero.
one to go.
Yeah,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
Like, I want you to have you don't have to protect him. He has to protect
Right.
I don't know if that's chauvinistic. I don't know, but it's just how I feel as
Sure.
a dad.
Right, yeah.
So I want that. I want that for my kids, and I want that for their friends and the people that they choose to live their lives with. That's what I'm looking for.
I love it. Yep. Litmus test for my daughter. Does he have a bat? That's going to be it.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, The Fall Guy. I think probably it's out on streaming by now, by the time you come across this. But if you enjoyed this conversation, the best thing you can do is like and then hit that subscribe button. Also, leave a comment. We'd love to interact with you in the comments. Sure. And then finally, just share it with someone as we kind of continue to go see the movies and invite you along with us. So thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.